Today we're going to be presenting overtraining. So our question is, to what extent does overtraining negatively affect peak athletic performance? And then our thesis is, overtraining negatively impacts athletes because it worsens their performance and affects their life in many different ways. So the problem is that when athletes aren't performing, when athletes are performing their best, they often think training more will fix it, but overtraining can actually create more problems, not just for the athlete, but sometimes for others around them too. So we have three reasons as to why overtraining affects athletes' performance. So first, we have that overtraining does not allow the body to recover properly. And then second, we have overtraining causes loss of mental fitness. And then third, we have overtraining causes physical injury. So all of these three relate to the thesis, and we're going to go more into depth about each topic.
Okay, so the first reason is overtraining does not allow the body to properly recover. Overtraining athletes usually don't give their bodies the necessary time and resources to recover and heal properly. After a training session, it is essential to recover properly. Recovery can include fueling your body, rolling out, and more. Even though this is so essential, most of the time overtraining athletes usually aren't properly recovering and giving their bodies time to heal. These athletes train hard and fast and only care about performing fast, not recovery. This pattern of training hard and not recovering repeats continually and leads to overtraining syndrome. Once an athlete reaches the point of overtraining syndrome, the body begins to be unable to recover. This is due to the constant strain on the body that it essentially forgets and is unable to actually recover. Recovery is essential to peak athletic performance and peak health. Recovery gives the body time and the ability to work at its highest level. It is also essential for physical and mental health of athletes. All athletes want to perform the best they can, but without proper recovery, it is not possible.
Our second reason is that overtraining causes loss in mental fitness. It doesn't just affect your body, but it also affects your brain. It can cause chronic stress, and it keeps your body in a constant state of fight or flight, making it harder for you to think clearly and focus. Physical exhaustion also tires your brain. Just like your muscles, your brain needs time to reset and rest. Without it, athletes' reaction time and decision making is at fault. And overtraining can also make one feel irritable, anxious, or depressed. And these fluctuations in a mood and motivation make it harder to stay mentally sharp and focused. Intense training can mess with sleeping patterns, reducing your memory, focus, and problem solving skills. And when your body is in a constant state of stress, your body is forced to work overtime in order to keep everything running. It leaves less mental energy for learning, planning, and creative thinking, and honestly stunts the growth of one's sport because you're just focused on the actual performance of it. Having one's life entirely revolve around their sport causes isolation in many athletes. With no time for friends, families, or outside activities, many force themselves into isolation subconsciously. They feel alone and misunderstood, prioritizing their sport over everything else and feeling like no one understands them, and this leads to cutting themselves off from others. Overtraining drains the body and mind, it slows focus and reaction time, and it leaves athletes feeling isolated.
So our third reason, and kind of our most important reason, is that overtraining causes physical injury. So first, it sets you back performance-wise. Once you get injured from overtraining, you can't do your sport anymore. And for like most sports, it takes about 100 hours to get a skill and develop it well, but it takes a fraction of that time to lose the skill. So once you start getting injured, it sets you back a lot performance-wise while your teammates can keep training. It also leads to lasting injuries. So a lot of people can tear their muscles or ligaments. That's the most common things from overtraining. And then these types of injuries never fully heal. So once you are finished with your athletic career, a lot of people still struggle with pain or just tightness from these, and then it affects you and like your mobility for the rest of your life. It also causes loss of brand deals or scholarships. A lot of brand deals want to back athletes who are at the top of their like food chain, and they are winning lots of events, and they're just kind of a big public figure that everyone can get behind. And once these people get injured, it's very hard for them to gain support. So they can lose brand deals and lose a lot of money that way. Additionally, they can lose scholarships because colleges want to win, and that helps them gain money. So if you're not winning, then you can lose your scholarship pretty easily. It also weakens your immune system because your body's so focused on trying to compensate for your overtraining that your like the viruses and bacteria is kind of a second burner, and then a lot of athletes can get injured or sick from that. Finally, or not finally, but it also can cause genetic susceptibility because different people have different genes that make them susceptible to injuries. A lot of people are very susceptible to rupturing their Achilles tendon, and that's very common from overtraining. So that's just like a common thing that can happen from overtraining. It also is very, very expensive. A lot of insurance companies won't cover your athletic injuries because it's your choice to compete in these things. So it's coming out of your pocket, and colleges also won't pay for it, even though they will supply an athletic trainer. They can only do so much.
So there are some solutions to overtraining. So for the first one, which is body recovery, you can stick to a training regimen and collaborate with coaches and trainers to help you perform your best. You can also, for the mental health thing, you can make your sport enjoyable for you. So you can journal and remember why you chose to do it, to push yourself to keep doing it. And you can also make sure your teammates and your team culture is really good and make sure they push you to your best. And then for the third reason, you can have a nutrition plan because most athletes overlook nutrition, and what you eat is really essential to how you perform and how you recover.
So, just in conclusion, overtraining worsens your not just your physical performance, but also like mentally and then socially as well. And clearly the best way to stop, like to mitigate the effects of overtraining is just to stop overtraining. But for a lot of people, that's not reasonable or just like a goal that they have. So it would be better to use the solutions that Leah gave you. And that's it. Thank you.
Sophia, give one specific way that your thinking changed as a result of learning about Leah's findings. Okay. Leah, how did the group decide to include Andrea's perspective, lenses, or conclusions into the overall presentation?
We thought mental health was really important as athletes because she did mental health, and all athletes need to care about their mental health because it keeps them going in the sport. And so we thought that we need to include that because overtraining can really put a damper on your mental health, which can make you hate your sport, and it's really bad for you.
Okay. Andrea, reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem your group identified?
I think Leah, she studied health and like the actual physical impacts of overtraining, and then she also included because mine is mental health, but she went into like how it affects your cortisol levels and like adrenaline and all that. So I feel like for our topic in general, hers can go into like every perspective of the research, and it kind of just ties into everything.
And Penelope, what is a way in which your team's resolution makes you think differently about your own individual research?
I think that because we kind of all research different topics, but I researched economically how this helps you, so brand deal scholarships, that kind of thing. And I think it made me realize that I didn't incorporate as much of the physical aspect of it into my research because I just kind of fully focused on money and that kind of side of it, but I didn't really think about how socially that or mental health that can impact how you relate to people who are potentially giving you these scholarships or brand deals, and just that kind of aspect.
Give one specific way that your thinking changed as a result of learning about Leah's findings.
I think that it kind of changed because it really showed how overtraining can affect your health, and it can your long-term health effects and your short-term health effects.